What if your comfort zone is just a well-designed cage? You wake up, the same bed, the same ceiling, the same morning routine you've followed for months, maybe years. You check your phone, scroll through notifications, and let your mind settle into the familiar rhythm of your day. You know exactly what comes next. Your commute, your work, the people you'll see, the conversations you'll have, the meals you'll eat, the content you'll consume. Your life moves forward in a loop, comfortable and predictable. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, is this routine truly what you want, or is it just what you're used to? Is your daily life shaped by conscious choice, or have you simply drifted into a pattern that feels safe? For many of us, the answer is unsettling. We like to believe we are free, that we make our own choices, that we have control over our lives. But what if we don't? What if, without realizing it, we've built a cage around ourselves, a structure of habits, fears, and limitations that keeps us confined to a narrow existence, a world that feels safe, but in reality is just a well-designed cage? The illusion of safety. Imagine a bird born in captivity. From the moment it opens its eyes, it knows only the walls of its enclosure. It learns where the food appears, where the water is placed. It recognizes the familiar hands that bring its meals and the sounds of the world outside, muffled, distant, unknowable. It has never known hunger, never felt the thrill of flying into the unknown, never experienced danger. It is safe. But is it free? If the cage door were suddenly opened, would it even leave? Or would it hesitate, unsure, afraid of what lies beyond the only world it has ever known? Now ask yourself, are you the bird? Your comfort zone, like the bird's cage, is a space where everything feels familiar, manageable, and under control. It's your daily routines, your well-practiced behaviors, your safe choices. It is made up of the decisions you no longer question, the patterns you repeat without thinking. It's waking up at the same time, eating the same meals, taking the same route to work, talking to the same people, and consuming the same media. It's staying in a job you don't love because finding something new is intimidating. It's avoiding difficult conversations because conflict makes you uncomfortable. It's keeping your dreams locked away because failure seems worse than never trying at all. Your mind convinces you that this is good. Safe is good. Familiar is good. Predictable is good. But what if that's a lie? What if the very thing you think is protecting you is actually limiting you? Why we stay inside the cage. Human beings are creatures of habit. We are wired to seek stability, to avoid pain, to stay within the boundaries of what we know. This instinct once served us well. Our ancestors needed to be cautious to survive. The unknown was dangerous. Straying too far from familiar territory could mean encountering predators, famine, or an environment too harsh to endure. Today, our threats are different, but the instinct remains. Instead of fearing physical predators, we fear failure. Instead of avoiding dangerous landscapes, we avoid emotional discomfort. Instead of running from wild animals, we run from rejection, from embarrassment, from the risk of being wrong. And so, we build a life that minimizes these threats. We choose jobs that feel secure, even if they don't fulfill us. We maintain friendships that are familiar, even if they no longer nourish us. We stay in relationships that feel predictable, even if they don't make us happy. We keep our dreams at arm's length, because pursuing them might mean facing setbacks, uncertainty, or the possibility of failure. We tell ourselves it's the smart choice. We tell ourselves we're being responsible. We tell ourselves we'll take that leap someday, but someday never comes. The cost of staying safe. The real danger of the comfort zone isn't that it keeps you safe, it's that it keeps you small. It keeps you from growing, from evolving, from becoming who you were meant to be. Think about the greatest moments of change in your life. Did they happen when everything was easy, when you felt completely prepared, or did they happen when you were pushed, challenged, uncomfortable? Think about the times when you felt truly alive. Were they during the days when you followed your routine without question? Or were they the moments when you took a risk, stepped into the unknown, and did something that scared you? The truth is, growth does not happen inside the cage. It happens in the space beyond it. It happens when you walk into a room full of strangers and introduce yourself. It happens when you take on a challenge you don't feel ready for. It happens when you put yourself in situations where you have to figure things out as you go. It happens when you choose to break the pattern, to take a different path, to challenge your own limitations. But here's the paradox. The longer you stay in your comfort zone, the harder it becomes to leave. Like a muscle that atrophies from lack of use, your ability to handle uncertainty weakens. The walls of your cage become thicker. What once felt like a choice now feels like a trap. The invisible chains we carry. Look around you. How many people do you know who are stuck? Stuck in jobs they hate, but too afraid to leave. Stuck in relationships that drain them, but too scared to be alone. Stuck in routines that feel lifeless, but too uncertain to change them. They will tell you they want something more, but when given the chance, they hesitate. They find reasons to wait, to delay, to postpone. Why? Because stepping outside the cage is terrifying. It requires walking into the unknown, facing the possibility of failure, embracing the discomfort of growth. But what if staying inside is even worse? What if years from now you look back and realize you never truly lived? What if you realize you spent your whole life waiting to feel ready, waiting for the right time, waiting for permission? What if you realize you mistook comfort for happiness and security for fulfillment? Escaping the cage. So how do you break free? How do you step beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone and into a life that challenges, excites, and transforms you? First, recognize that fear is not a stop sign, it is a guidepost. The things you fear most, the conversations you avoid, the risks you hesitate to take, the dreams you keep putting off, these are often the very things that will lead to your growth. Second, take small, consistent steps outside your comfort zone. You don't need to make a massive leap overnight. Start with something small. Speak up in a meeting, try a new activity, take a different route to work. Every time you push against the edge of your comfort zone, you expand it. Third, embrace failure as part of the process. Growth is messy. Progress is uncomfortable. There will be setbacks. But every failure is proof that you are trying, learning, evolving. And finally, ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to look back on? Do you want to remember a life spent playing it safe, following routines, and avoiding risks? Or do you want to remember the times you were bold, the moments you took chances, the experiences that changed you? Because at the end of the day, the real tragedy is not failing. The real tragedy is never trying. The real tragedy is looking back and realizing you spent your whole life inside a cage, never knowing what it felt like to fly. So here's the question. What would your life look like if you finally decided to open the door? Would you take the risk? Would you embrace the unknown? Or will you stay inside, telling yourself that the cage was never really there?